We can't gather in person this year, but we've adapted. The 2020 Milwaukee Film Festival brings the best in film from across the globe and around the corner. And this year, it's all virtual, so the films and events are coming directly to you. Join us for the 2020 Milwaukee Film Festival, October 15th through the 29th. More information is at mkefilm.org/MFF.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Day 11 of the 2020 Milwaukee Film Festival presented by Associated Bank. I'm Kara. I'm the Artistic Director at Milwaukee Film, and this is the Nightcap, presented by the Ibuki Family Foundation. A few reminders before we get into our Q&A. Please remember to cast your vote for the Alan H. Budd and Suzanne L. Seelig Audience Awards. To vote, you're just going to go to the film or the shorts program that you would like to register your vote for at watch.mkefilm.org, either signing in as a pass holder or using your ticket code. And you'll see a button that says Vote Now. And if you click that, you'll be taken to a form that will serve as your ballot. Same rating system as always, where a 5 is excellent and a 1 is not so excellent. But unlike in the theater where you have the paper ballot, don't tear, just click the number and press enter, and we will count your votes. And they matter, audience awards matter quite a bit to filmmakers. So please don't forget to make sure you vote for films in the festival and then on November 3rd as well, that other election. As you've seen, we have a double up challenge happening. Thanks to the generosity of Judith McGregor and Richard Galloon, we are challenged to raise $75,000 during the festival. If we do that, they will double it. There's a few ways you can help us out with that goal. You can text double up to 44321, as you see running across the bottom of your screen. You could give it any amount there. You could go to mkefilm.org/donate and also give at any amount that feels right for you. If you're not a member of Milwaukee Film and you've been thinking about becoming one, make sure you do it before the end of the festival, because if you do that, those dollars will be doubled. If you are renewing your membership this month, those dollars will be doubled. If you're buying tickets and you see that round up function at the very end of your purchase, if you round up, it's doubled up. Any amount that feels right for you. We really appreciate your support of our nonprofit. It helps us keep our mission going even through these challenging times where we're moving into a virtual space. But we want to keep providing great stories to our audience. And we need just a little help to do that and to meet this challenge. As of this morning, we're about 82% of the way there, which is really, really great. It looks like we're on track, but that shouldn't mean we slow down our momentum. It would be very sad to be at like 99% on the last day of the festival and be like, oh, oops. So if you've been thinking about it for a couple days here, make sure you join us as a member or tell someone else to become a member, because Milwaukee Film members are really the lifeblood of what we do. They help keep us going year round. They get some cool stuff. They get to be in a cool kids club where they get to see free movies most months. We've got it figured out now, so it's happening. They had a super secret screening during this year's festival. They get discounts on a lot of tickets and merch and all that good stuff. But most importantly, they help us offer programming like this for free, as well as all of our education programs that serve young people. Milwaukee Film members are really, really important. And we love them and we miss them. So if you're already a Milwaukee Film member out there, thank you so much for your support. And if we would love it if you could help us spread the word about Milwaukee Film membership. All right, this evening we are joined by the crew behind Never Too Late, the Doc Severinsen story. Wherever you're watching out there on the internet, if you drop your questions and comments into the chat, they will make their way to me, and I will try to thread them into our conversation as we go. And let's get started. I'm going to bring the team on screen with me. There's a bunch of folks. Hi, everyone. If you can quickly introduce yourself, say where you're calling in from, and what your relationship to the film is, what you did. I'm going to start with Nancy, who's to my immediate right.
Hi, thank you so much for having us. First of all, my name is Nancy Severinsen. Well, not only am I the subject's daughter, but I was a co-producer and music supervisor on the show as well. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kevin Bright. I was co-director of the film. And on behalf of Never Too Late, the Doc Severinsen story, we want to donate $1,000 to the Milwaukee Film Festival. How about that?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Double that up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Double that. Look
Come
at
on.
that.
How do we follow that one?
Double up with us. Come on.
Yeah.
Just give me that shirt and I'll give you $2,000.
Oh, we got an auction here.
Brad, how about you next?
You're up.
Sure. I'm Brad Allgood calling in from Los Angeles. It's awesome to join y'all in Milwaukee. And I'm the editor of Never Too Late, the Doc Severinsen story.
And I'm Jeff Consiglio, co-director with Kevin and also co-producer with Ariana Garfinkel, who's not with us today. I'm also calling in from Los Angeles. So is Nancy, by the way. She's in Glendale. Kevin's in LA. He's in Brentwood. And then last but not least, we got somebody over here on my right whose name I think is Doctor something. Little Doc, right? Is it Little Doc?
Little Doc.
Little Doc, that'll do. Yeah. I am Doc Severinsen, and I've had a lot of connection with Milwaukee, enough to know how to pronounce it. Not Milwaukee, Milwaukee. And I was the props director with the symphony there for a number of years. And before that, I played at the state fair and those things. And I have a great fondness for the town. I love that town. Okay. And this is Cathy Leach. And you want to tell them who you are?
Sure. I'm Cathy, and I'm lucky enough to be Doc's significant other and to also have met all these lovely people through the process of making this film. So I was a little bit helper in chief, I guess, along the way. Thank you for having us.
What Cathy's not telling you is that she is an accomplished trumpet player too. So 2 of them in the household, can you imagine?
It's not a quiet house.
Not
the dogs are objecting. They don't care for it.
Oh. You haven't successfully taught them to play yet?
They're deaf now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
As are most of us.
So I want to start, Kevin and Jeff, with sort of how you came to this project. Kind of what is the origin story of Never Too Late?
So Nancy and I, it really starts with Nancy and I. Nancy and I were at a retirement party for a mutual friend. And we hadn't seen each other in a long time. And so I hadn't seen Doc in a long time either, anyplace. So I said to her carefully at first, is Doc still alive?
Every time I
Yes,
see
he
him,
is.
he's like the never-ready bunny. He's so full of energy and vitality. He's still going strong.
And then I said, is he still playing the trumpet? And she said, yes, he is. He's got like 3 gigs in the next 3 months. And I said, has anybody wanted to make a film about him? Because for me, you know, I grew up with Doc. I mean, in my house, Doc was on every night. And once I became old enough to be aware of it, you know, I'd be hanging out, sneaking around the corner when I was supposed to be in bed to watch the Carson show. And my dad and mom watched it every single night. I mean, that's the way it was. That's, you know, everybody was watching the same thing at 11 o'clock at night. And it was amazing that, you know, Doc said yes, you know, so. And then Jeff and I have worked together before on another film. And and Ariana worked with us on that film too. So the team was basically put together.
And Kevin said Kevin said the fateful phrase, we got this great film we're going to make. It's going to be super easy. Where it's going to be a short film. It'll be a doc short. We're going to get Doc Severinsen in the studio, record an album, do some clips of Tonight Show, honor his legacy, in and out. Next thing you know, we're on the road with this guy, chasing him. We're literally chasing him across the country, trying to keep up with them. And the project grew and became what it is today because you cannot put the story of this man into a small box. You just can't do it.
And how long was the process? How long were you chasing?
A year. We filmed for actually over a year. We went just over, a year and a half. A year and a half.
When
a year and a half.
Came time to start with filming, I think I made a brief attempt to talk them out of it. I didn't have any concept of what it was really about. And then I got kind of upset and a little frightened, you know. I've had a fairly colorful life, and I wasn't looking for any added exposure, you might say. But
good way to put it.
What I loved was when we all got together, all of us, the first time, it was like a family like that. And I never felt as though I was being asked to do anything that wasn't good for me and for Cathy and for my whole family, for that matter. And and, you know, when people say, so what are you doing these days? Oh, I'm making a movie. It doesn't hurt, you know.
It's nice to have that kind of an answer and not, you know, dishes. I don't know what we're doing these days.
Dishes. That's
Cathy,
what we all say now.
Yeah. Cathy, were you easily on board? Was sort of if Doc was on board, you were on board?
Yeah, I was curious, and this is a whole new world for me, and it was really, really a lot of fun. We felt very supported, like Doc was saying, by the whole crew, and now I'm writing a book on trumpet in the movies. So,
are you?
Yeah.
So that's so exciting, Cathy. I love that.
Wonderful. Oh, who better to do it? Wow. Awesome.
I'm running the house. I'm doing the cooking and all of that.
You have to do that.
She does share. She does more than she needs to.
As long as I do the shopping, we're okay.
Yeah. I really have not been out of the house other than to go for a little short car ride
since March.
Yeah. And I don't know any other way around it, you know.
Yeah.
When you're the age that I am, you know, 30.
Which is what, 60, 62, 63 or something, Doc? Right?
39.
Okay, 39. Forgive me.
You got to start at that point being careful about opening yourself up to diseases and all of that.
Yeah. You know, that's interesting, Doc, because I saw an interview with Stevie Nicks, who is just a baby at 72. And she said the hardest part of this COVID thing is it's stealing time from all of us. And that's no matter what, we're not going to get back. So, you know, okay, I bummed everybody out. Now let's go back to
Well, so, and then I wanted to say that Brad came along when we amassed this huge pile of material that we needed to start going through. And I remember when Kevin and I met with him, we met with a couple of different editors. We had lunch with Brad And when we left, we got in the car, and Kevin said, "Did you like him?" And I'm like, "He wears cowboy boots. He got the job. He wears cowboy boots."
Never leave home without your boots.
You learned on this project, huh, Brad?
Nancy, I'm going to come back to you to sort of ask if in the course of sort of, initiating this project, being a co-conspirator to initiate this, but then in the course of making the film or in watching the film, did you learn anything unexpected about your dad?
Yes, I did. I felt this was one of the greatest experiences of my life. And while you think you may know how someone feels about something, when you find yourself in a formal situation, and I will reference, and of course, Brad and Jeff and Kevin have heard me reference this before. There was one time on the road when we were at University of Louisville where Dad gave a 2-hour masterclass. He was 91 at the time. He stood up for 2 hours, and I thought he would be speaking about the mechanics of an embouchure and how you finger and things about playing the trumpet. And while he touched upon that, the most important thing that he talked about were life lessons, and the audience was hanging on every single word. And to hear him speak to a group of people who were absorbing this important lesson that he was giving out was so touching for me. I felt so proud to be a part of all of this. I will never get over this, ever. It was one of the most special occasions ever, just to see the way my dad thinks and to be so proud of the way he thinks. And the film reveals all of that. I couldn't be prouder. I love you, Dad.
Obviously. It's nice when you get comments like that from one of your children. It really is nice. And that was kind of the tone of the thing. Right the minute we got into it, we had a family here. And it's not the same without all you guys. So anyway.
Yeah. Doc, when you watch the film, are there things that are like revealing to you to see your life reflected back, or to see these moments of other people responding to your story?
Well, it's been a while now since I saw it, and I think when I watched the finished product, or the almost product, I had my defenses up. I was definitely not wide open and just taking it all in and hugging myself. It was at that time at Kevin's house when I realized what we'd done. People would ask me, "What are you doing?" And I'd say, making a movie. But I love everybody that I work with, and there was one moment that they were talking to Cathy, interviewing her here in the house, and boy, I want to tell you, I was worried because the questions, there was no limit on what they could ask. But here's my dearly beloved, best pal I've ever had in my life, and likewise wife, and so that was the only time I was ever worried, was that she could be hurt, or it wouldn't feel good to her. And she came through like the trooper she is, I'll tell you that.
That's nice.
Doc, you're in a sweet mood.
Yeah, we should film some more. We should film you right now.
Part two.
Don't believe that. I want the shirt
Yeah.
Oh,
that you have on, that very shirt. I want the shirt.
Wild Bills and get them.
Take out the shirt, my boy. Hey, give me that shirt.
Hey, Mister.
Cathy, do you feel that, sort of, were there things that in your watching of the film that you feel you learned, or that you feel maybe revealed a part of Doc that, like, maybe you felt like only you knew or saw, or that only the family and those closest saw? Are there moments in the film that are kind of revelatory for you?
Well, I had known most of the stories that I heard as part of the film before. So I think I got a little more about his early life with Nancy and his other daughter Cindy and Alan, a little more detail about that, and just how wrenching that time was for all of them, and how, I mean, I'd noticed from the very beginning how tight as a family they are, and very impressed by that. So I think that was the biggest revelation for me.
Mm-hmm. A deepening of something you had recognized. Yeah.
Great word.
Yeah. Wonderful. Brad, what does it look like to edit this kind of a film? To sort of spend probably the most time with Doc of anyone, maybe other than Doc, just sort of in that edit room looking at footage. Can you talk a little bit about your process to sort of assemble the film?
Sure. For me, it was like watching television every day. Watching television and listening to great music. It was actually one of the.
But the channel doesn't change. One channel.
Yeah. I didn't grow up with The Tonight Show. So for me, it was an education process to familiarize myself with a couple of things. One, the music that Doc played throughout the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and every generation. Familiarize myself with almost all of his albums, which are fantastic. And a lot of his albums are only available on vinyl. And then just an education on who Doc was and the importance and the role that he played in the American culture, throughout the 30 plus years on The Tonight Show, and then for many more years after that. So it was a lot of going through archives of the Carson Show, but then also taking a deeper dive into older material. I mean, we found some footage of him playing with Charlie Barnett and a number of old bands, just very rare footage. So it was collecting all of that archival, all of the Tonight Show, and then finding a way to mold that together with all of the material that Jeff and Kevin were shooting over a year. So it was just finding that balance.
Yeah. And I'll point out to our audience that Brad also was a director of Landfill Harmonic, which is one of our audience's festival faves from a while ago. So you're no stranger to assembling music films, for sure.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Wonderful to have you here. Kevin and Jeff, what does co-directing look like? It sounds like it was very familial, but like, what does that look like? What does it look like when you have disagreements or tension? Are there moments of that? Do you act with one mind? Explain to us.
We can't be in the same room together anymore. We hate each other now.
Not that I was aware of, at least. Anyhow, this was the most tension-free production I think I've ever worked on. No, I never had a moment. I never had a moment, on
I know.
So
we said this. We didn't fight. I feel like we missed out. Like we actually made a movie and didn't fight. Something's wrong. Kevin and I have to have a fight at some point, or else the movie's not done.
Well,
but it's really we were of the same mind throughout the whole process, I think.
Yeah, and also I think a successful co-venture in directing, you can't both be interested in doing the same thing, concentrating on the same thing. So my concentration during the filming was more about Doc, and I was the interviewer. And so I focused much more on Doc and the story, trying to keep track of what was going on and things I wanted to remember for post. And also, while we were doing it, it wasn't just, you know, a plain story that presented itself. We had many versions of this film during production at one time or another, where we thought, okay, now the focus is this is going to be the wraparound, and then we went in another direction. So keeping track of all of that was kind of where my head was at. And Jeff was, during production, much more focused on the technical side of it, dealing with cameras and the complex audio situation that we had at times. So he was really running things on the set. And then in post, Jeff is really, you know, he is an editor, so he knows how to work with an editor and be hands-on. I do too, but, you know, I'm going to say at 65, I don't have the patience to sit in an editing room the way I used to. So, so Jeff did a lot of the heavy lifting with Brad, and then I got to be the person say, nah, let's get rid of that. Let's not. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Let's put this together, move that to the back, take that to the front. And so, you know, it was good. And then in those moments, Jeff and I would talk, okay, well, you know, because I'm not in the editing room, and all of a sudden you start talking, and to the people who've been in the editing room and doing all the work, you know, no matter what you're saying, if it's good or bad, you know, it's kind of like, what's he talking about, moving that to the front? How long it took us to put that scene. So it really was, you know, it's the same thing, you know, when I was doing Friends. If all three of you are interested in the same things, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Brad and Jeff and I, it was totally seamless in how this film went together. So there was certainly a lot of work in it, but, you know, the experience for me was seamless. It was great.
Would you mind if I said one thing about the music on the show?
Oh, yes, I was going to let you
do.
Well, you know, Jeff and Brad got together and combed through all of the recorded material that Dad has recorded over all the years, all of his masters, and decided, with Kevin's support, to underscore the film with his authentic masters. Okay, so that's not done very often. That's a very costly way to approach a project. But for the storytelling of a musician, what is a better way to underscore the film than with the actual music of that subject's playing through the years, and tracing his career musically as well as visually in this film, I thought brought an extra element of poignancy to it. And I thank you so much, Kevin, for, you know, allowing the push.
Yeah. But, you know, I have to give credit again to Brad on this, because when I said, you know, Doc has so much music over the years, there's no reason for a single second of this film to be scored by anything other than Doc Severinsen. Now, that may sound like, hey, that's great for the editor. You got a lot of stuff to work with. But first of all, there is almost too much stuff to work with. But also, you're talking about trumpet music. And trumpet music is tough when you have dialogue on top of it. We have people talking all through this film. So Brad was very judicious in not only selecting great numbers, but finding the parts of the numbers that enhanced the moments, but at the same time stayed out of their way. So, and that's tough with trumpet. That's because the trumpet is an instrument where, if you haven't gotten it from this film, it's look at me instrument. It's not a shy instrument. It's not a subtle instrument. It's a support instrument. It is the instrument.
It's exactly what you don't.
Words for you. The trumpet is a jealous
Mistress.
You lay that
But it's the
trump
exact opposite of
and miss practicing by one day, you pick it up and that thing is saying to you, "Oh, thank you for coming. Now, are you ready for this?" And it feels like crap. But you know, if you don't keep up with the trumpet, it'll drive you absolutely out of your mind.
Doc, how many hours a day have you been practicing during this shut-in?
Well, I don't really practice, but I have the trumpet in my hand. I don't know, you say
It was pretty much all afternoon and right up until I got it. You know, I had to go get him in the kitchen because he was still practicing at 8:30. So that's a little bit, I wasn't really practicing. He was practicing all afternoon up until the interview.
I'm working on a lot of unusual kinds of projects right now that don't amount to performance of any kind. It's I'm in the business of manufacturing trumpets, and I feel that my goal there is, after I've played my last notes and I'm up in heaven or down in hell watching wherever I am, what's going on, that I've been able to leave something behind that was useful to other trumpet players. And the thing that Cathy and I are doing is a book. It could be for a child starting out, or it could be for a really experienced player who picks the horn up in later years and wants some little hints and helps, all of that.
And there are recipes in it.
And because I love to cook, half of the book is about trumpets and music, and the other half is recipes in sometimes rather colorful language.
Yes.
Awesome.
Excellent.
I cannot wait for this book.
I was working on a section tonight called Garlic, Friend or Foe.
I'm going to vote friend.
Yeah.
Are we voting? I'm voting friend.
No, you can't be both. Sometimes it's if you treat it right, it's your friend. If you don't pay attention and be careful, it is foe.
Is this a metaphor? But this is a metaphor for trumpets right here. Everything in the book is a metaphor for a trumpet, right?
Well,
So.
you know, I suppose that's true.
That is true.
We have a couple of comments and a question from the folks watching out in the internet of Milwaukee. Some kudos, people saying it was great footage, brought back great memories. One of our audience members, these are all people whose names I recognize too, so hello members, thank you, says that this is particularly making them miss having an in-person festival. And before we got started, we were, we all would have been at the Oriental Theater standing on stage and chatting, but this is 2020's festival reality. We're making the most of it. And the question is, Doc, what did you have? I'm quoting. What did you have against learning the violin when you were a boy?
I just didn't want to play the violin.
The trumpet.
And it wasn't that I just don't like violins, but I knew that I wanted to play a brass instrument. And I was specific. I said, Dad, he said, well, what's going on here? I said, well, I want to play a trombone. And he said, well, you can't play a trombone because you can't reach slide positions. You're too small. And I said, well, I want a trombone just like the one Wilbur Fletcher has, who lived up the street from us. And so he said, well, I don't know, that's okay. And he said, well, tomorrow, be ready for another lesson. We're going to try again. So the next day, I sat there, and he said, get up in the high chair. I got up in the high chair, sat there for an hour, and he said, you really mean this, don't you? And I said, yes. It isn't. I don't want to play a violin, and I don't know why. No, I don't have that much against fiddle players.
Just a little bit.
But I wanted to play something that was loud.
Yeah.
And so,
Would have thought, yeah.
Doc, you're doing this when you're 5, though, right? 5. And you're
yeah,
creating a trumpet.
5 or 6, somewhere along in there.
Daddy, I want to play the trombone, Daddy. Daddy,
And so with all of this, some neighbors were cleaning out their basement, and they found an old army bugle in there, and it was Earl Snell and his family, who became the governor of Oregon at a much later time. And they said, what, you know what? Little Doc could get a kick out of this thing. So they bring it over, they hand it to me, and whoa, man, this is great. Then I looked at it, and I didn't know it didn't have a mouthpiece. I just had the pipe right there and stuck it on my face. And boy, nothing flat. Some neighbors came down and said, Doc, our daughter Ella is not well, and you have to stop playing. Please. And
Wow.
so I stopped for 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. That's that. But the trumpet was the instrument I really wanted to play.
Yeah. No specific reason, just a gut urge, a draw, and it was loud. Yes.
The only horn that was available in Arlington, Oregon, was a trumpet that Herb Clark, who was the mechanic at the Shell station, and his son Denny was my best friend. And as good friends as you could be when you're 7 years old. And so my dad said, I think Herb Clark has got the trumpet he played in the Army band, the First World War, hello. And let's go see. So we didn't have a telephone to call. So we walked down the ground. Yeah, I got that thing. It's up in the attic. I'll have it for you tomorrow. I'm going to shine it up for you. And it turned out to be a miracle instrument. It was all gold-plated and engraved, and it was the exact horn like the one Louis Armstrong started on.
Oh, wow.
And I got the trumpet one day, and about 5 days later, I made my first public appearance.
Wow.
At the Methodist Church.
Yeah.
what did you play?
And I don't know. The trumpet just kind of stayed with me, but
yeah, you think?
yeah.
About 85, 86 more years.
Well, you never know. If anybody's going to do it, I would like it to be me.
You done did, Doc.
Yeah.
Another comment here from Claire, who says, I am 73 and returning to trumpet playing, and I need your book soon. So no pressure.
Claire, let me, is she watching now?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to tell Claire that it's not, it's like this film says, it's never too late to be what you might have been. And I'm telling you right now, if you want to play that trumpet, go down to the local music store. I can't think of the name of the main store there, but tell them Doc sent you and that you want a nice student instrument to start on, and go on home and have some fun with it.
Doc, don't you have a student model with your name on it?
I don't on the student model, but I helped design it. I mean, I know what it is.
All right, I'm just trying to promote your trumpet company.
Well, okay, it's the Shires.
Thank you.
S.E. Shires Company. And, but that, she can get any horn she can get her hands on. Just get it, put that mouthpiece in, stick it on your chops, haul up, and blow that baby.
There you go, Claire.
Make it sound so simple.
Well,
As somebody who did not have it in her to practice the music, I am like, yes, I will.
Yeah.
I will do something else. It will be fine. So y'all were all set to premiere the film with our friends over in Cleveland. Hi, Mallory, Debbie, Patrick, Barcy, and they needed to pivot virtually, and you've kind of let this film kind of go out, participating in so many virtual film festivals. I was looking at the list of like where you are this month, and I've been seeing doing this Q&A here and here and here. Can you talk a little bit about the experience, kind of traveling with the film, the reception, and what that experience has been like? Obviously, it is not the same as that in-person experience, but what has the response felt like anyway?
It's been a lot like this, Kara. Yes, it's painful for us to not be in person and have Doc there on the stage interacting with the audiences, because when we filmed him and that was happening, it would go on for hours and it was wonderful. It's painful to not have that experience, but this has been a really wonderful portal into, in traveling. You say we're traveling around with the film. We are, we're traveling through these devices here. That's the only travel we're doing. So in that regard, no airplanes, no airplane food, but we've gotten a lot of really great responses, just like, what you've done here. We're so grateful to you guys for figuring out a way to do this, to get these films out there and get us to connect with everybody. It's been a joy. I think I'd like to throw to Nancy and ask Nancy what this experience has been like for you in the festival run.
Yeah, this is the first time I've been involved in something like this, and the comments that come back are so positive about Dad that how can I not love all of it? Just the adulation. It was so much fun putting it together, and now to have the celebration occur, and most importantly on these Zoom calls, since we can't travel anymore, I get to see Dad in this little box. Hi Dad, hi Cathy. I don't see them in any other way. And Kevin, who I love dearly, and Jeff and Brad. It's so nice to see everybody. This is the fun part about the virtual side of it.
Yeah,
it's a little reunion.
Yeah,
and you're like forced into it because there's like a purpose of like, this is work. We have to go. This is important for promoting the film, but then you get to see your friends and your family.
It's not considered work. Yeah,
but it's a good excuse to get together, right?
Yes.
To continue, Claire comments that, so Claire, the one returning to playing the trumpet, says, the film is precious to me for its honesty on both the professional and personal sides. When I stopped drinking 40 years ago, knowing what you had done so helped me to do it. And when this is Claire, approach my work in economics and finance, and then my passions, trumpet playing, your work ethic inspires me. So just more of that kind of resonance that the film is having with individual folks who are getting the chance to kind of spend more time with you, Doc, in a different kind of a space than the time that they've already spent with you. So just more appreciation. I wanted to read that out because it felt so special and poignant. We have a question And I don't think this is intended to be a judgment about what you are currently wearing, but a question: what did Doc do with his wardrobe? Where are your clothes?
I don't think they're asking about where are they now. They want
Yeah,
to know
but
what Tonight Show clothes are.
yeah, those, yeah.
Well, they're all here in Tennessee because you're not allowed to carry anything over the state line like these. And I was lucky enough to get them in here. If I try to get them out, I'm going to jail. The sheriff is watching me.
They're locked in a vault under lock and key.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it was really nice to be involved in a project that wasn't about the clothes at all.
Huh.
Except when we were doing a concert. And then, of course, I learned the hard way. I showed up in regular clothes a couple of times. And first time, a woman came up to me and she said, well, listen, I just have to say, I'm very disappointed in you. I said, well, we've never met before. What did I do wrong? She says, you were out there in a blue suit. You know, that's not what I want. I watched the Tonight Show and those crazy outfits. I thought you'd have on something wild. And I got a lot of comments like that. And you know what?
Blue suit.
It's the fun involved in wearing those things. And of course, I'm not going to say if I do now or not. Oh, sometimes around 3 a.m, I sneak upstairs and put on stuff and conduct nothing. You know, just a couple of the dogs go with me, and it's wonderful.
Conducts.
Oh man, yeah, we got to film that.
Doc, if you were here in Milwaukee, I don't want to get too nostalgic, but you know, are there things that you would want to be sure to do or to see or to eat if you were able to be here?
Well, anytime I got to Milwaukee, if it was the right time of day, I had it right for Carl Rotz's restaurant. And I don't think they're in business anymore. I know Carl passed away a long time ago, but boy, I'm going to tell you, that was unabashed European, German style food, and it was great. And so I think it brought the level of food in Milwaukee up, and then everybody had to compete with that. And then bratwurst and lentils and bratwurst and all that kind of stuff. I miss Milwaukee, and I'm not going to tell you the room number of the hotel I was in, but I used to tell everybody, I said, if I disappear and you really need to get me, go to Milwaukee to the Pfister Hotel. I'll be in room 306.
There it is.
There.
That was my, I spent a lot of time in that place.
Yeah, is that hotel still there, Kara?
The Pfister is it will, if the Pfister leaves Milwaukee, something will be very wrong. But yeah,
Hotel. Yeah.
it's a very old hotel.
Well, I'm a very old person, so
yeah.
It all works out.
One of those fixtures, yeah. Just like our Oriental Theater that I am missing having all of you on stage at is a very old cinema. So it's a little, we'll just imagine that we're there.
Well, we'll be part of your band. We'll be part of your best of 2020 presentation.
Yeah, right. We have been talking a lot in these about how the class of 2020 is going to have to do like a reunion tour and like go to all the festivals that they only came to virtually. Something will have to happen.
I'm game.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, you'll all come out. It's fine.
Okay.
You'll all have to stay in the same hotel room.
The same room.
Yeah.
306 at the festival.
Yeah, well, you'll all be in there. It'll be fine. What's next for the film? More festivals? Is there news for the film about when, of course, people are going to watch it. If they haven't already watched it, they're going to watch it at the Milwaukee Film Festival until the 29th. But what's next or what's coming for the film? How can they tell?
We have a wider broadcast that's going to happen later in the spring of next year that we still can't announce yet.
Okay.
But it will have another burst of life in the spring.
Of a broadcast variety.
Excellent.
Excellent.
We'll let you know as soon as we can announce that.
Yeah, and we'll be sure to amplify that out. What is next for each of you? We hear there's this there's books in the works, projects that folks have that they're working on. How are you kind of staying busy and healthy and motivated? All of you creative people in front of me.
Well, like everybody else out there, I'm waiting for the Friends reunion to happen. So that's
Really?
fingers crossed. February 15th, folks. February 15th. That's when we're shooting it.
Yeah.
And
All
I
right.
see it February 15th.
Right.
Every day I look forward to a new chapter in our book that are.
Oh my! Somebody's calling.
And I don't know. I'm just lonely without all of you guys. But I do have something in mind that I think this is a perfect time for it. The pandemic is the perfect setting because if you're using your right mind, you wear your mask and you don't go out and tempt fate. And I've got something that would make staying home a little bit easier.
What's that?
Well, I can't tell you yet.
Oh,
Who wanted to know? Who was
Kevin.
Kevin?
that was me.
No, you're
That was Jeff.
The room.
you're the exact guy I want to talk to about this.
Okay.
You know,
You'll get a
Is
sneak
that what we're going to talk about tomorrow?
yeah. It's never too late to be what you might have been.
peek.
We're all intrigued.
I know. We're going to eavesdrop on that phone call.
Yeah. Jeff, Nancy, Brad, projects that you're working on, stuff we can keep our eyes out for, or
I work in TV as an independent music supervisor, and the show I'm working on at the moment is Dancing with the Stars, which is airing right now. So it's keeping us busy.
yeah.
Boy, in her line of work, if she makes a mistake or a misjudgment,
Don't make
Which she doesn't.
it you're talking about big troubles.
no mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be.
Brad, you're making a film right now, right?
You are? Cool.
Oh, Brad, you went on mute
You're
somehow.
muted.
Mute. Uh-oh.
Ooh.
There.
There you are.
Hello,
No, that
dark
happened. That's weird.
friend.
There you are.
Yeah, I'm working on 2 films right now. One, I'm in post on. It's takes place in Nicaragua, and we're following an Indian tribe who has been fighting against illegal cattle ranchers in the rainforest. And then I started another film this year following a friend of mine in Virginia who is a quadriplegic and gave birth to twins at the height of the epidemic. So we're following her story about pregnancy with a disability.
Great.
Wow.
Wow.
I've
Both of those
got
go.
2 going as well right now. Also, one film I'm doing with our producer Ariana Garfinkel on police in schools, and another film I'm working on about the U.S. women's soccer team fight for equal pay. That's a CNN and HBO Max co-production, so that'll be broadcast in the spring as well.
Wow.
Great.
Lots of things to watch for.
Lots of things to
from
watch
all of
for.
you. Well,
Oh yeah.
we've sort of come to the end of our time. I want to make sure y'all get off to bed. That's where I'm going in a timely fashion. But any final thoughts, final well wishes, or closing comments from anybody?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that really the important part of doing these things is not to promote our film. In my mind, it's to keep the festivals going. I'm sure that it's okay if you do this virtually, but you don't want to lose members and you don't want to lose the people who are counting on you now. And I think it's great that this festival is up and it's running. And I just want to remind everybody to double up and give something to the Milwaukee Film Festival.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was
I
very
second
cool.
that.
Yes, thank you.
I'll third that.
You heard them. Thank you all so much for your time tonight, as well as your time and dedication to the film, and congratulations on it being done and out and connecting with so many audiences. We really appreciate all of you and your work on and off screen. So thank you.
Thank you, Kara.
Yes.
Thanks, Sarah.
Have a great night, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
It's nice to be back in Milwaukee.
Yes.